What's up, subscribers? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, as requested, we'll be talking about Sensionics, trading under the ticker SENS. We'll be discussing the business model, taking a look at the stock chart, and also reviewing the financials. But first, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so that you get notifications about our future videos talking about the stock market and personal finances. And while you're down there, if you haven't already, be sure to check out the links in the description to get your free shares of stock from Webull whenever you open and fund your account, as well as $10 of free Bitcoin from Coinbase whenever you open your account and make your first $100 purchase of cryptocurrency. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage of choice, and let's jump into it. Senseonics is a medical technology company that was founded in 1996 and headquartered in Maryland that has been getting a ton of hype in the stock market recently. With this excitement stemming from their implantable continuous glucose monitoring system, Eversense, to help patients improve their management of diabetes. Before talking about the company in more detail, I think it's first important that we talk a little bit about why tight glucose management is so important when it comes to managing diabetes. Without getting too far into the weeds regarding the pathophysiology, diabetes mellitus is an endocrine disorder in which the body is unable to adequately regulate glucose levels. And it is from this impaired glycemic regulation that we see the complications of diabetes arise. Elevated levels of glucose within the circulation ultimately sparks a cascade that further damages the body's microcirculation. And it is from this glycosylation-mediated damage to the microcirculation, a term that we call microangiopathy, that all of the systemic complications from diabetes mellitus develop. Chronic hyperglycemia puts patients at risk for damage to multiple different organ systems, such as the kidney, predisposing patients to chronic kidney disease and end-stage renal failure requiring dialysis, the retina of the eye, predisposing patients to diabetic retinopathy, the peripheral vasculature of the hands and the feet, predisposing patients to infection and putting them at risk for amputation, as well as the microcirculation of both the heart and nerves, predisposing patients for myocardial infarction, diabetic neuropathy, and stroke. Hopefully that makes it clear why regulating glycemic levels is so important whenever it comes to managing diabetes. And that's where SENS and their Eversense technology comes into play. For patients who require insulin in order to manage their diabetes, monitoring their glucose levels closely is imperative to ensure that they're appropriately dosing their medication. And historically for patients, this has meant frequent finger sticks in order to obtain a small sample of blood in order to check their glucose level. But with the Eversense monitor, those frequent finger sticks can become a thing of the past. The tiny Eversense monitor is placed subcutaneously under the skin, and a removable transmitter is subsequently placed over top of it on the surface of the skin, allowing data to be continuously transmitted to your smartphone and other devices. The Eversense monitor is not the only implantable continuous glucose monitor that is currently on the market, but one of the things that sets it apart from its competition is how frequently it needs to be replaced. As of the time that I'm recording this video, the Eversense monitor is currently approved for 90 days in the United States and 180 days in Europe. But there is expectation that Eversense should receive FDA approval for up to 180 days later this year. This means that patients with the Eversense monitor only have to have it replaced a handful of times each year, which is in stark contrast to the competitors such as Dexcom, whose monitors need to be replaced approximately every 10 days. This means more independence for patients and less time being spent in their provider's office having the minimally invasive implantation of the CGM being performed. And on top of that, Sensionics pipeline includes a new sensor that would only have to be changed once per year. In addition to the lifespan of the sensor, I'm also a big fan of the functionality of the Eversense monitor, which is able to provide patients with a tactile signal whenever their blood sugar is becoming either too low or too high. These conditions, termed hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia respectively, come with their own risks and, depending on the severity, could be life-threatening. Let's go ahead and take a look at a video from Sensionics investor relation page to learn more about the functionality of its sensor.
The novel Eversense sensor works on fluorescence technology. The components include a fluorescent indicator in a polymer hydrogel and an anti-inflammatory silicone collar surrounding a biocompatible encasement that houses the core electronics and optical interface. A tiny sensor is placed under the skin in the upper arm by a healthcare provider in a brief in-office procedure. A gentle, daily-use, double-sided adhesive patch secures the Eversense transmitter to the skin. The transmitter is water-resistant and can be removed and reapplied at any time. The transmitter powers the sensor's electronics wirelessly. A drug-eluting silicone collar reduces potential tissue inflammation, helping the device maintain accurate readings over a longer period. The body's interstitial fluid penetrates the porous matrix of the sensor's hydrogel. Glucose molecules in the interstitial fluid reversibly bind to indicator molecules in the hydrogel. Upon glucose binding, the indicator molecules fluoresce in response to a flash from the sensor's LED. Two photodiodes measure the intensity of the fluorescing hydrogel, which rises and falls in proportion to the body's glucose levels. Electronics inside the sensor communicate the raw data to the transmitter every 5 minutes. The smart transmitter calculates the glucose concentration from the sensor signals and quickly provides on-body vibratory alerts to warn the user of impending or current hypo or hyperglycemic events. The transmitter also communicates the glucose readings to the user's mobile device via Bluetooth. The Eversense mobile app displays glucose values, trends, and alerts on a user's smartphone, offering continuous glycemic awareness to patients.
Now that we've talked about how the Eversense continuous glucose monitor works, let's shift our attention and take a look at Sensionics financials. Taking a look at Sensionics' most recent quarterly report, we can see that they currently have more liabilities than they do assets, in the sum of approximately $50 million. Although we can see that year over year they have made some nice progress in paying off their debts, reducing their total liabilities from approximately $141 million to $96 million. In terms of operations, they're not yet profitable, and year over year they have seen declining revenue, although that was likely impacted by the pandemic. Taking a look at their stock chart over the past 3 months, we can see that SENS is up quite substantially. At one point, they were trading under $1 per share before shooting up to over $5 per share. We did see SENS sell off substantially earlier this week on Tuesday as part of the broader tech sell-off, but as of the time that I'm recording this video, the stock price has recovered quite nicely, currently trading at around $4.20 per share. With a current market capitalization of approximately $1.4 billion and what sounds to me as the superior glucose monitor, SENS may have a lot more room to run in the future, especially if they're able to receive FDA approval later this year and able to continue to gain market share with their other products that are in the pipeline. What are your thoughts about Sensionics? Are you invested in SENS? Are you thinking about investing in this company? Where do you see the share price going over both the short term and the long term? Be sure to comment down below and let me know what you think. And while you're down there, if there are any other stocks or topics that you would like me to talk about in a future video, please feel free to comment that down below as well. As a reminder, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a certified financial planner. I'm a resident physician with an interest in personal finances and investing. Please make sure you're doing your own research before you make any financial decisions. And please be sure to smash that like button and click on the subscribe button for the YouTube algorithm and to help support my channel. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.